Let's now check out more options for the camera. So if you select the camera here in our sequencer, if you remember before, with the camera, we clicked here on the perspective and then placed cameras, and then we could look through the camera. Let's click G to see it. So we can do that, but we can also, in the sequencer, click on this little camera icon next to our camera, and that will do the same thing, where we will look through the camera. And now that we have the camera selected, let's increase this window a bit. Here we can see all the different types of properties for the camera. So let's check out a few of those. So we have the lens settings. So if you open that up, we have the max, stop, min stop. This is basically the normal focal things for the camera. So let's put it to 22. We have film back, sensor width and height. So if you increase, decrease this, the camera changes the aspect ratios. And I usually put this to maybe 34 and maybe 14. Depends on what you want to film, maybe 18. And this also gives you some properties here, so you can check out this even if you're not here in the window. You can also click on this film back option, and here you have some type of cameras that you can also use. 16:9 are good ones for the movies. And let's check out these options at the beginning. So this track option can be useful. So let's say we click on this picker option and click enable tracking. And now if we, let's say, let's get out to the camera, and let's say we want to move the camera, we can see that camera tries to, let's position this better. Camera tries always to look at the object that we selected, basically. Let's also lower roll. And as you can see, we can't really rotate our camera because it always tries to focus on the object that we selected. So let's disable this and reset the character. And if you remember, we can reset rotation here. So let's reset that. And let's put it back on the character. Let's pull back a bit. We can again click on the camera to check out the view through the camera. Let's see the focus settings again. Here, what you're going to change is this focus method. So if you don't want any focus type, we can disable it. So now, from any distance, the character and environment, everything will look sharp. But this kind of takes from the realism. So I usually like to enable it, and what you can do is manual is one way. So let's type, let's say 100 here. And now as you can see, this is like a really nice sharp for a close-up shot, but maybe for a bit farther, let's say 500. And now from this view, this looks a bit way nicer. Another thing that you can do is here is tracking. And let's open the tracking focus settings. And you can just select the mannequin. And now we can also choose offset, but let's look it like this. So now generally, if the character will always be in focus, but this actor to tracks always the point, and the point is right here. So it might not do the best tracking. So let's see if you can change this. Something like this. So as you can see, the tracking point is changed a bit. So let's put this to 0. Let's reset everything. And let's put it for now on manual. So this will just give us a general focal point that is not relative to the character. And this is really nice because you have all the options for, that you will also have in the physical camera in real life. Let's see what other options we have. Next things, we have lens here, and there is a bunch of options here, but one really important that we'll check out is exposure. So exposure is basically a way to automatically brighten up the scene or darken the scene depending on what you're watching. So if you're watching a really bright scene, the exposure will try to darken it up so you can see more detail. If you're looking at the really dark parts, it will try to bright it up so you can see more there. But we don't really want this, so uh, what we can do, we can set max and min brightness to 1, so this never changes. And we can also change the method to manual. So basically what we want is to never change by itself. We can just set it manually here. And if we want to change any of these options, we can also add them in our sequencer and change them over time. So let's say later maybe we want to enable exposure and animate it, we can do that. We actually have this button plus to just keyframe and add it to our sequencer, but we won't do that for now. And you can see here manual focus distance that we used before. We have it here, and we can just scroll and choose whatever option we want. Uh, let's put that down. We have something like chromatic aberration. So uh, this is like an effect that kind of breaks the colors a bit, offsets them, so you get this kind of effect. It's pretty nice. Some movies do it. It's usually way subtler than this, maybe like 2 or 1, just a little effect of this. Another important thing here is lens flares. So let's enable lens flares and let's say put 4. And now if you look at the sun, we can see this effect. Really realistic. Without it, it kind of feels fake, like the sun is detached. But with this, it looks way more reactive, and usually these lens flares are a bit less visible, so maybe 1. But you get this really nice effect when looking at the sun. And of course, for this, you can also tint it. We can change the color and we can also change the bokeh shape. So you can see right now shape is circle, but you can make it like hexagonal or something like that. Next thing that we're going to check out are image effects. And image effects are also really important. So if you remember what vignette is, we can enable it and increase it. It gives you this like a fade from all the corners, really nice effect. And we also can grain it, increase the graininess. Get something like that. But for now we'll disable it, maybe increase add only vignette. And we have also depth of field here, but this is kind of a bit of different option. And after that we have the film, and this gives you some options that movie producers would probably like. And this is where you can clip out some colors. So let's say we want to make this more realistic, and let's say clip out a bit of black, and this is way too much, so let's say 0.2. Get that effect depending on what camera type you want to simulate, basically. Maybe you want some white clipping. Maybe this needs to be like 0.1 maybe, and you can clearly see the difference if you reset this. Maybe 0.01, just give a little bit of this effect. We can decrease slope to water out the scene, and so on. So in this camera properties, you have tons of options to change how your scene looks. And you can easily create photorealistic uh, or try to simulate realism with all the options that Unreal gives. You have also dirt masks and something like that. Like if you would like to simulate like a blood coming onto the screen or something like that, and you can play around with this, see how you like it, and yeah, try to simulate real life basically.